So as said, let's talk about the Viva Connection and how does that actually work and what are the latest capabilities and features. And the reason I wanted to do that is that there's so many cool features in the Viva Connection which have been already rolling out throughout this spring. You can do extensibility, you can adjust that based on your use cases, branding, all of that stuff. And we will announce more within build as well. So you can imagine Copilot extensibility, so Copilot options in the Viva Connections, also in plans and all of that. So it's good to have an overview on what's actually available and how things can be used. And also, quite importantly, what is the use case of Viva Connection? Because that's something what we get also feedback on. Well, why would I use a Viva Connection versus the SharePoint intranet, or why Viva Engage versus Amplify? And we were kind of thinking this in this kind of 4 different triangles. So this is a one pie way of dividing that. So Viva Connection is really the company app for me accessing my personal information, my personal tools, my personal actions and all of that. So it makes it super easy based on my profile to access the relevant information for my day-to-day work. Viva Amplify is more for the communication management, for corporate communication, so really controlling and creating those corporate news, and other communications throughout the company. And from a Viva Amplify, you can then target different audiences and all of that. Viva Engage is more community and social within the community, so within the company, so you can actually share your thoughts, engage with other people in the community. And then we have the intranet, which is more about surfacing that corporate communication in a pixel perfect format, especially with the direction where we are heading with intranets nowadays. I'll come back on that one in a second. Now, let's talk a bit about the Viva Connection, just to recap again on what is it actually for. There's a lot of changes in here versus what it was when it got rolled out, and that might be a bit confusing. So, and that's the reason why we want to recap always these things. But really, the Viva Connection is there to get you access to tools and apps which are relevant for you. So, depending on your role, depending on your company, depending on your division or your organization, you will see the relevant tools and actions for you, including the news articles, announcements, and all of that. It is also customized for your organization, so you can adjust the icons and fonts and branding and all of that stuff within the Viva Connection, make it really visible for your company based on your company business requirements. And we'll show some examples on that one as we move along within this journey. And then it's personalized to the individual. And again, I'm repeating this because, again, the Viva Connection is the personalized towards the individual. Then the intranet portals are more the pixel perfect branding within a company. I'll come back on that one in a second. So if you think about the intranet versus Viva Connection versus portals, what is actually the design model? What is the model what Microsoft wants people to think through? So the intranets and SharePoint is more about company mission, brand, and shape. So it is highly branded. It is the company mission. Corporate communications are happening there. We're publishing, creating content publishing in the SharePoint. We could create the content in Viva Amplify as well, or in the SharePoint. And then the Viva Connection is really the employee support and satisfaction. So me using any device, I can easily access the relevant applications which are available based on my business requirements. So really targeted for my role and my division and my team. And obviously combining them both makes actually a lot of sense. And that's where, and coming back on that, where it actually really makes sense is more on the following slides. So how we think this is that the top intranet and the intranet and portals is really the pixel perfect storytelling about our brand. And that's what we're seeing where the intranets are heading. So you can actually do really, really complex and beautiful looking designs. You can adjust the design based on the company design language. It's navigating the whole entire company, search the whole entire company, tailored news for me, and I can easily access that directly from my portal site. Now, again, the Viva Connection is really about those personal news, about the personal community, employee experiences center apps. So, for example, accessing my pay information or pay slip information, or requesting time away through that application. So having a one location, again, using a tablet or mobile or desktop, I can access the same applications super easily, and then able to perform my individual asks and tasks towards the company. Now, we've been releasing a lot of features within the past months around the Viva Connection, so I wanted to cover some of this stuff. So we do have 50 unique home sites and VC instances. VC means Viva Connection. And what it means is that we can, in a one SharePoint tenant, we can do unique branding based on the division or organization and based on their business needs. So as an example, something like in Microsoft case, we do have divisions like Xbox or the gaming division. So Xbox is gaming division, but there are individual brands which they want to be reflected differently directly within Viva Connection or within a home sites. And it makes sense. We are able to then target the individual brand, individual Viva Connection experience based on the organization where the user is working on. And we can then target that news, target the theming, target the cards and functionalities based on those settings as well. So that's actually really, really cool. And within one SharePoint tenant or within one Microsoft 365 tenant, we can absolutely do targeted configurations even in the logo level as well. So one way of really making that Viva Connection personal and based on your brand is that you're able to adjust the logo for that application, which is a feature in Microsoft Teams, but you go to the Teams admin, you are able to adjust that based on your business requirements or based on the branding. So you're able to reflect every single instance as a unique logo within the top left corner, as an example in the Microsoft Teams. Now we are rolling out a lot of new capabilities as well. We talked about within this spring the themes. The themes are there to make that the Viva Connection to be reflected based on the branding of the company or branding of the division. So you can easily adjust the experience and adjust not just the background picture, but also the theme color, which is visible within the icons and within the buttons. So that's always visible in here. And as part of this theming, we will roll out soon backgrounds for all of the inbox themes. Right now, if you're looking in, would like to use any of these backgrounds, you can actually go to that URL, which is visible in the screen, which is AKMS Viva Connection backgrounds, and from there you'll see what will be sooner or later as part of out of the product. So whenever you're setting a theme, we can also select the optional background for that theme, or you can do something else based on your business requirements or based on company requirements. And of course, by the way, you can definitely create your own custom themes as well, because that's definitely supported within a Microsoft 365. Something also which we released relatively recently was the custom fonts. This is part of the brand center, which is rolling out right now worldwide gradually. So you'll see those settings to be available within the Viva Connection. So based on, again, the company brand, you're able to adjust that UX experience because typically every single company have their chosen font, like in the case of Microsoft is Aptos nowadays, which is relatively new setting in Microsoft, but every single company have their own custom fonts, and using the custom fonts capabilities, you're able to adjust, again, the experience based on the company branding. We'll also introduce relatively soon, this is not yet out, but for the news section within the Viva Connection, you will have much more precise configuration options. So you're able to select which news are available in which personas and how way the news are being surfaced. So a lot of options and settings there as well. That's coming relatively soon. We're recording demos on this one later this week. And then I think we'll start rolling out this one in the mid-June. So you'll see some of this being available for some tenants faster and for some tenants a bit later because it's rolling out in sequences. And of course, you can do adjustments based on the dashboards. So you can adjust the dashboards based on audiences. And this is the way you do it, basically defining what are the capabilities available for individual role or organization. You are using audiences, which are available in Microsoft 365 for doing that. And therefore, you'll only see the relevant cards for that particular role or for that particular organization based on, again, this configuration settings. So you can really do low-level profiling and targeting in here as well. And then the final piece, which actually relatively recently got updated to support audiences as well, is the resources. This is basically the easy access of the relevant company links and information for the individual. So as an example, culture conversations or benefits company store, those typical links what people need to get access on, they can easily be listed on the resources section. Now, what it then means is that we're able to build really, really compelling experiences within the Viva Connection, which are really targeted on the branding. And again, they will be then reflected and visible across the desktop, tablet, and the mobile experiences. And based on the company branding, we can easily change the experience and design what the company wants to have there with all of the different goodies and capabilities. And we are, of course, able to extend this as well if we are developers. If we want to do development with low code, no code, or pro code experiences. So we have a lot of cards available from the out of the box. We're adding more and more cards all the time. You can do also low-code capabilities there, and we'll have a look on all of these settings in a second. Or you can do pro development using SharePoint Framework, which is getting a lot of investments again. Related on Viva Connection and also related on Copilot. It's going to be interesting to see the future on that one as well. So definitely a lot of options for you to design the dedicated dashboard for your company or based on the division requirements. We recently also rolled out the Card Designer 2. I did a live demo on this one a few weeks back in the community course. So I'm not going to do that today, but basically what it means is that you have a much more powerful UI designers. So you don't have to do code necessarily. You can do adaptive cards, and then you are able to associate the adaptive cards to a dynamic API information. So the Card Designer V2 supports API calling APIs and then showcasing information in the UX without writing code, and that's actually a really cool capability as well. And of course, if you are looking into investing here more, you have the Pro Developer Storyline with SharePoint Framework. SharePoint Framework 1.19 introduced chart cards options, which we have demoed in the community call as well, and you can find videos on that. And then a final piece before we go to the actual demos and see all of this live is really the bot-powered ACEs. So this is more for an option for existing Microsoft Teams ISVs who have already invested already for Teams bots, and they want to also surface the same bot directly within the Viva Connection dashboards, because they are adaptive cards which are visible in the UX. So you can definitely bring your existing bots to Viva Connection as well. It's using the Teams manifest packaging, so it's a familiar way of doing implementation if you chose this option. Now, we do have a lot of time for the demos, which was the objective. So let's actually have a look on how all of this looks in practice and what are the settings and how we can do things within our demo tenants. So first of all, what I wanted to actually quickly start with is an admin UX. So one thing what people are not necessarily aware is that Viva Connection really supports multiple Viva Connection dashboards. And you can actually find those Viva settings if you go to the admin UX. So from here and then where is admin nowadays? There's the admin. So if I click admin, that's the UX where I'm actually landing into, where I actually was. So let's do that one more time. And then if we go to show all and settings, we can actually find a Viva option in the left menu. And that's where I'm going to click. And then let me zoom in a bit. We can actually see all of the different adjustments and configuration options for Microsoft Viva. And in here, we can, for example, see the Viva Connection. And in the Viva Connection settings, we can, for example, create and manage Viva Connection experiences, Viva Connection, install the Viva Connection to your organization, and pin Viva Connection to Teams, step-by-step guidance on that. If we go on the Viva Connection experiences, we can actually see that within this environment, we do have 4 different dashboard designs. And the cool thing here is that we are able to target these dashboards. Let me do, not that setting. What I wanted to do actually is setting, how do I set the audiences? There we go. There we go. So I can adjust the audiences settings here, and that basically means that I can then create, for example, in the case of Microsoft, we can have a different experiences for Xbox and different experiences for the rest of the company, or however we want to group the people. It really comes back on how do we identify the audiences and what kind of divisions you have within a company, and then you're able to divide what's available and where. And that's really cool. Based on audiences, again, you can filter that option out. Now, from a UI perspective, let me go in here. Let me use my example identity here, and I will show a few examples of those settings which are available. I'll zoom out a bit. So we're not too close. A lot of options on the branding. So now if I go to change the look capability, we can adjust the theming. So as an example, we could make the theme red or purple, whatever. But more importantly, if we want, we can absolutely introduce custom themes, which are then using the company branding based on the company brand guidance. So let's do a green one there, or let's do the orange one and apply the settings and save that one. Now, in our case, I'm just adjusting the theme in here. I can absolutely also adjust other settings. So let me go in here and let me not that one. That one is the one what I wanted to do. Change the image, and then I could upload my own custom image for the header section of Viva Connection, which will be then visible within the desktop, tablet, and in the mobile experiences. So in my case, let's do stock images, and let's find a nice looking image, something which would make sense in the header section so that we can see that it's visible in other areas. Trying to avoid a duplicate, which I'm using in some areas. That looks nice. Let's add that one there, and then we are able to reposition the focal section. Where do we actually want to put it? Let's put it over there and set the focal point. And there we go. Now we have a custom branded background over there with a custom branding and with custom orange. Now, you can do a lot of different settings here. In my case, in this particular environment, right now, the change to look does not yet provide the font option. It will be visible in here as it starts rolling out for the Viva Connection within upcoming weeks. So that's a really great option as well. And of course, that branding, these settings, all of the theme settings, they are all reflected across all of the different devices. Now, something what's also really cool here is that I can actually do customize on the dashboard. And what this means is that me as an individual, so first of all, let me actually rephrase that one. Me as a dashboard operator who has the sufficient permissions, I can modify and add additional cards, and I can really create what kind of cards we want to have visible within this UX, and then we're able to modify the settings of that card based on audience settings or based on the configuration options what the card has. So I could target, for example, this card to be only visible for a specific set of, again, audiences based on the audiences which I have in my company. Now, I can do that and set up that for the whole company. Now, really cool feature is that, well, if the end user doesn't like some of the capabilities which are available, they can customize this as well. So if the end user wants to have that for themselves only, not for everybody within a company, the card layout should be looking a bit different. They can actually shuffle the card dashboard based on their own business requirements. And that provides a lot of flexibility for the layouts and for the end users. And this works in all of the different devices as well. It's really cool capability. So now I save, and that's my personal experience. So really cool. Now, we do have also the announcement feature here, which is a great option for doing ad hoc announcements on top of the news capabilities. We do have different additional layouts and settings and options available. So if I, for example, go to the Contoso Air, we can see different branding, different layouts, different features, capabilities available. And we have the resources section in here as well. Now, from a timing perspective, there's so much I could show here, but what I wanted to actually show is quickly our card experience. So in here, now I'm in that same dashboard which I just was in a desktop. We can see that there's similar branding, there's a similar background colors, there's the theme colors. I can access the announcements from the company easily directly within my mobile. I'm using here the Android emulator to be able to understand and test these things. And you can really imagine that, for example, for, let's say, airliners, as the people are walking in the plane, you could have functionalities and features directly within their mobile phones, as for the frontline workers to stay up to date what's happening in the company, but also making their work easier. So we can surface the LOB, the systems which the company is using directly within their mobile phones, directly within their teams, and then they have more insights on what's happening within a company, even though they're not sitting in front of their desktop all the time. They could access their personal information, for example, pay information, or whatever the personal requirements are, and then there's a lot of different options for individual industries what we could actually implement directly in here. Before I actually close up this one, I also wanted to quickly show, because I don't think we have anything confidential, this is how the Viva Connection looks in Microsoft as an example. So a lot of interesting things. Apparently I have 2 assigned tasks which I do, but for example, I can really easily go and request time for my personal time for a paid holidays or holiday time from here. And you can imagine that I can do this from a tablet, I can do this from my mobile, I can do other things as well. Check, for example, the holidays which are available. I can report a security concern super easily. Rather than trying to remember which system I need to go to do all of this stuff, I can just go to Viva Connection and all of the relevant information is available. And it's personalized. Not that I would actually go to the cafeteria in Espoo where the Finnish office is, but it's actually targeted to me based on my personal location, which is really, really cool. And I can access all of that information in here as well. It's pretty cool. Now, and of course, the final quick demo before we close up. We are a bit late on the schedule. All of this works, of course, also in tablet. So just show you in a tablet view as well. So it's targeted on the tablet, works in Android, works in iPhone or iPads as well across the stack. So really, really cool stuff. Good. Let's actually then start summing things up. A few resources available for people to get started on using the Viva Connection. We are updating these resources all the time. A lot of assets, a lot of guidance available across the whole stack. And hopefully this story helped you to understand what is the value of Viva Connection, the art of possible, and what are the latest features for that.